Good morning. Hello. It is Saturday, the 29th of April, and I am still a head teacher. I still have ADHD. I still am a survivor of childhood trauma. I am very tired. I put a picture up of myself last night on Twitter, and a friend said, "You look very tired." And I am very tired. However, I'm going to rest this weekend. I've got a skirt on that I'd like to show you, which is a skirt that my daughter gave me last week. And I'm feeling very happy about that because it's got the most beautiful blue flowers on it, which match my blue necklace. I have had a very successful week at school in terms of getting things done, taking things off, hopefully looking after staff and pupils, not succeeding on all fronts. A few things really sitting on my chest that I'm anxious about. I'm also anxious about my teeth. I have ongoing issues with my teeth, and I watched something on the news this week about a woman who couldn't get dentistry and had to pull all of her own teeth out, and then had to do a fundraiser so that people could pay for her to have dentures. And that's something that's bothering me because I've always had bad teeth since I had various things done years ago. That's probably an irrational ADHD type fear. And I have to think, what am I really anxious about? I think what I'm really anxious about is that I am tired and I don't want to have to give in to that, but I am tired and I need to rest, and resting isn't easy because that's when all the things pop into my head and that I worry about, so it's easier to keep going. All the things that I've talked about before. However, this week I've been pondering more on the therapy that I've been having, which is family systems work, parts work, and that looks at kind of parts of you that were your kind of childhood parts, that maybe were the kind of feeling parts that had strong feelings but then had to be exiled because those feelings were too strong. And then you've got these managers who then just manage all the time and stop the feeling parts from feeling. And there's so much that resonates there, in me, but also in people who are in the world, in adults. I'm not talking specifically about anything that's happened this week, although in my job, each week I sort of reflect on the fact that, the sins of the fathers quote that if we haven't worked out our own personal stuff, it does impact on children. If we work with children or if we are parents. And I just see that time and time again. And a while ago, I wrote a blog about, it was called Before You Do It. And it was that thing of like, before you have sex and have a child, it's really important to consider whether you are in an emotionally ready place to do that. But I think the problem is that lots of us cerebrally in our brains would think we were. And what we don't do is kind of look inside and think, is this bit healed? Have I got a healed heart? If there were things that happened to me in my childhood, have I acknowledged them? And one of the things for me recently has been really important is looking at my own parents, who are just phenomenal, but who obviously were born at the end of the Second World War in a war, albeit, the latter stages 43 and 44, or 44 and 45. I'm going to say 44 and 45. No, 43 and 44. That's right. A latter part of a war. And so, what's that like? To be born to people whose systems are in constant vigilant state. And I'm not sure that that generation processed any of that stuff. And the more I read and the more I understand, the whatever went on with the nervous systems of their parents in a war, then were kind of part of their own nervous systems. And no matter, and I see it with myself, no matter how much love we can show and be loving and be physically loving and have the house and the staff and the money and all of that, there's a bit about that kind of hypervigilance that gets passed on, and that stress that gets passed on. And for me, the kind of combination of that with a brain that is hypervigilant, but maybe because of ADHD, maybe not, who knows. And then for me, a few things that happened to me in my childhood, but particularly quite significant sexual abuse. Um, all of that has just meant that I have really got to look out for this and this little girl who couldn't make sense of any of those things, and then just to sort of try to get through the world by being terribly efficient and terribly productive and a very good manager and managing myself and managing other people, but then having this part that is still possibly that unhealed kind of bundle of feelings. And the point being that that's just me, and I'm, what I've gone through is probably a tiny fraction of families with significant ACEs. And that's why we need to keep talking about adverse childhood experience. That's why we need to talk about relational poverty. That's why we need to talk about love and opening our hearts. And what concerns me, I suppose, a little bit is that when things get tough, when money gets tighter, when we're in a recession, when we have politicians leading the world who haven't done that work, that's where things get dangerous. Anyway, there's a lot of thoughts there, but I am shattered. I wrote a poem this week, and it's kind of this idea of, I try and please everyone all the time. I suppose I try to just be kind to everyone and understand everyone and forgive everyone. And then the danger with that is that you forgive the unforgivable, and there is stuff that's unforgivable and should be walked away from. And I would love to be the ballsy girl in this poem, which I've written, and it rhymes, and I'm quite proud, and I'm going to end with this. I'm done with trying to please you. I'm done with fitting in. I'm done with losing battles that I'm well equipped to win. I'm done with keeping quiet, with being meek and good, with listening to the critics with all their oughts and shoulds. So now I'm on a different path and headed somewhere new, where you and all your hate of me just won't obscure my view. I wish you all the very best and hope you learn to heal. But most of all, I hope that you begin to thaw and feel. For love is all that I need, and all that you need too. But if you won't give it to me, I can't give it to you. There we go. Stay well, stay safe, rest if you can. We don't have a bank holiday here, so I've got 2 days to try and just... and just want to say one last thing. Yesterday, someone at work gave me baked potato, and I can't tell you the significance of that because it's one of those weird ADHD, like, I've seen the connections, you probably won't. And that just made such a difference. I know I'm really hard to help. I know I'm really hard to, when I'm at work, I know I'm really hard not to kind of be in that manager, keeping everyone safe, doing all the right. But someone yesterday gave me a baked potato, and that meant a lot. So there we go. Stay well, stay safe. If any of this resonates, listen, retweet. If you think it'll help anybody, if it helps you, get in touch. I'd love to talk to more people that are weird like me. And I'm allowed to call myself weird. I wouldn't call anyone else weird. There we go. Bye for now.